Welcome guys, thanks for coming by to Draco's Rules Online Gaming. Now, in this series of videos I'm going to be talking to you about EVE Online. Now, EVE Online is the greatest of all the space MMOs, and it's been around for quite some time, since 2003. Now, I started playing in 2004, so I think I have a fairly good grasp of the game and mechanics of which I'm going to be showing you. Now, if you haven't got an account, or if you created one already but you haven't really got anywhere with it, what I would suggest is, if you firstly take a look, if you look at my channel here on YouTube, there's a link here. You can click here for 1 million free skill points to get your character started with some good skill points and some good ships in EVE Online. So what you need to do is you click on the link, you'll see I've invited you to play EVE Online. Now you just put in your email, you create a username and a password, agree to the terms, and start playing for free. So there's two options in EVE. You can play for free, which is an alpha account. My accounts are at the moment alpha. Sort those out later on, but for now I'm going to be talking through alphas, so new bros, so you guys learn a lot quicker. One of the most important things in EVE is to have ISK, the in-game credits, interstellar credits, so you can buy bigger and bigger ships and do more and more in the game. You get your 3 million skill points, and I'll show you in the game, once you've done all that, how to apply those skill points. What I think would be a good idea to train first. With that, let's head off into the game, and then we'll get your character created. Guys, so now we're in the game, and for this moment, just to show you how to create a character, I'll start from scratch on this side here. I'll add a new one, and this is one I made earlier. We'll come back to her in a moment. Right now we'll click on add a character. Okay, and now in this screen we get to choose which faction we want to fight for in faction warfare, and which kind of character we want. Now, the Caldari faction, okay, they use a lot of missiles and are shield tankers. The Galente use a lot of blasters, railguns, and are armor tankers. The Amar are laser boats and armor tankers, which is the one we've chosen for our main character that we're going to be working on. And finally, the Minmatar are all shield and armor. It depends really. They're quite versatile, and they shoot a lot of autocannons and artillery cannons, which do a lot of alpha damage, a lot of big damage. So let's have a look. So we've created an Amar. Let's have a look at creating a Caldari character for missiles, which is quite a common one people like to use because it makes missions quite easy, and yeah, missile damage means you can shoot from a little bit further away. So let's have a look at it. Let's create a Caldari character, shall we? So now we get to have a look at a few of the ships. So the Ibis this is the basic ship you can start off with. This is a very basic one for mining. The Griffin, which is used for electronic warfare, so you can jam other players' ships and stop them locking onto people in your friendly fleets if you're in a big fight. We've got the Raven, which is a commonly used ship for mission running. The Heron, which is what we're going to be focusing on a lot, which is the scouting and exploration, so mainly exploration, so we can do the data and the Relic hacking sites to make some ISK for ourselves. Okay, so these are some of the ships. The technology, as I've said, is missile launchers, so all missiles on Caldari ships generally hit quite hard, and a lot of the ships have specific bonuses to missile damage types, which we'll go over later on. So they do use hybrid weapons, so the blasters and railguns can be used, and they have a shield tank. As you can see, the Caldari, the faction, is at war, if you like, constantly with the Galente faction, and their main enemy for Caldari and a lot of the NPC faction pirates you'll find in Caldari space are the Guristas. Now we get a choice of the Achura, the Teteus, and the Severe. Okay, so I think just for now it doesn't really matter which bloodline. It has no effect in the game, but we'll go for an Achura female. So now we get to choose how we look in the game. Just give it a second to load, and here we go. So we can use the sculpting tool, so we can give them cheekbones or not. I mean, for this there's no real right or wrong, so you can just play about as you see fit. Or you can click on the randomize appearance button and it will generate random ones for you. Wow. Okay. Alright, that looks fairly decent. Okay, and if you zoom out, you can see the whole character here. So we'll make them like that. Just go to the hair and headwear. So I like to change the hairstyle, I think. Maybe like this, just so it looks like a, yeah, like a girl, I guess. Alright, there we are. Makeup. Now I can give us some tattoos on her face. I think we'll go for the cheek. There we are, that looks good. And maybe a scar, maybe one eye is blind. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Okay. Next. Okay. So now we can choose which of the places we want to start with. So the State War Academy is a popular one. So it doesn't really matter. It's all the same at the end of the day. However, we'll just go over to Combat Pilot Center. We'll choose a name. We'll call it Draco's Rules. Draco's Rules Missiles. Okay, and we're good. And then we hit Enter Game. So, would you like to begin your journey with a tutorial? We'll say no. Because for the purpose of these videos, I'll be giving you my own tutorial, so easier to just to go step by step through that. Okay. Now this video series is for alpha characters, for new bros who've just started the game. I'm assuming you've used my link above to get the 1 million free skill points, and you've reached this point where you've docked up in the station with the career agents. Now again, I'm going to assume you've been through the tutorial. I cancelled the tutorial, I've skipped the tutorial. There's a little button here for skip tutorial so that I can get into the meat of the game to show you guys what can be done. Now, a GM has just convoed me, given me a conversation, had a chat with him, and he's given me some nice gifts, which you will also receive. So you get a mining frigate, and you get an exploration frigate, okay, to do some exploration in which we can start making some nice interstellar credits. Now, the ISK in the game comes into here in your wallet, and as you'll see, I've run through the first mission myself. I got the reward from the air laboratories, so that's been done. I redeemed these tokens from the Air Career program. In here, I've claimed all my rewards and I'm ready to go. So, that being said, I've been given my gifts. I've redeemed them to my home station, which is the air station, as you see. And just next door is the station where the career agents are. So right now, I'll set my destination to my home station and let's go. It's always a little bit choppy when you undock, lots of wrecks about. So, I'm going to stop the ship here. Now, what I want to do first is have a look around, just tidy up my screen some. So, just arrange my interface so it's comfortable for me, so I can see what I need to see. Now, I'm just resizing everything so it's comfortable. Now, on the left here, you'll see what you need to do. So this is the mission I've selected for Soldier of Fortune. Now, I will come back to this one. But for now, I just want to get to the next system and get into the exploration ship, which is where we can really start to make some ISK. And I'll also explain the skills we're going to use with the 1 million free skill points, okay, from creating your account with my link. And then I'll run through what skills I'm going to train, why I'm going to train them, and what they do. Okay, so with that, let's make a move. So I'm going to right click on the yellow Stargate, which indicates that's where I'm going. And then warp to 0.
Warp drive active.
And we're off. Now, one of the things I really love about EVE Online is the visuals. It's so beautifully rich. And we're now just going to jump through the gate. So we're going to select the gate. And we're going to hit jump. Again, don't worry about this mission here. We'll come back to that later. Obviously, this is the chat for the new guys. There's a lot of guys in here who are very helpful. Now, we've got another jump to go. So this time I'm going to right click over here where my destination is and jump through Stargate. So it will take me straight to the gate. And jump without any interaction needed from me. Now, I would recommend that when you are moving about between systems, you don't leave the computer or you don't just go AFK and let it do autopilot. You're likely to get blown up because there are some guys in EVE who love to see you do that and will happily blow your ship up and take all your stuff. So be very careful with that. It's not a bad thing, adds to the content of EVE. and just generally makes it more fun in my opinion. Keeps you on your toes. So this time I'm going to show you the circle interface and then jump. Just like that. So you press and hold the left mouse button, it'll pop up the circular menu, you click and jump, and you're through to the next system. So now we're in the system we need to be. We've got our destination here, the station, so right click and dock.
Warp drive active.
Okay, so now guys, we're back in our original starting station in Seimi, which is a 1.0 high security system. So we're quite safe for the moment, at least. Okay, so having had the chat with the GM, he's given us some lovely gifts. He's given us a brand new Magnate class frigate, and also a Venture, which is a mining frigate for mining. If you are of a mind to mine asteroids for ISK. Now, there's many ways to make ISK in the game, but one of the most profitable ones is exploration. Now, the Magnate is the Amar exploration frigate. The characteristics of the frigate explain a bit about what it does and what its strengths are. Now, this frigate gets a 7.5% bonus to the combat scanner probe's strength and core scanner probes, which is the one we're mainly going to be focusing on, which is to find cosmic signatures, in which we can find data sites and relic sites. And those sites, relic and data analyzers, we will need to fit to our ship to be able to access them. Upon accessing these, you'll be presented with a mini game. It's kind of like Minesweeper way in the future, basically, to try and unlock all the hidden gifts inside, which can be very profitable. I'll show you why in just a little while. So this ship is quite a sturdy little frigate for what we need to do, and the GM also gave us a skin, I believe, for the Venture. So what we'll do first to set this ship up, first we right click on the ship and then assemble the ship. Upon assembling, it'll create a ship with your name on it, and to change any name, if you want to remain incognito, change name and just call it, let's see, James Bond. Okay, so now the ship is called James Bond. Now there's several ways to hop into your ship and change the ship. I'll show you this one first. So we just click and drag the ship onto the interface, and now we are inside our shiny new beautiful Magnate frigate. So let's have a look at fitting our ship. So what we can see on the fitting window, now if yours doesn't look like this, it's probably because you don't have the attribute window open. So you simply click on this button here and you get to see how much capacity you have, whether it's capacitor stable, so it can maintain all your modules running indefinitely. Shows you how much damage you do, your defensive mechanisms on your ship, how much EHP, so effective hit points. So that takes into account all the resistances, the different levels of resistance for each damage type in the game. And so it gives us a total of 1,387 effective hit points. So while not enormous, it should suit us fine for what we're about to do with this ship. It shows you your targeting range, how many targets you can lock, your sensor strength, and also your signature radius. Now the smaller you are, the longer time it takes you to be locked onto. So if you do get into trouble, you can quickly run away. So navigation, it shows you how fast your aligning time is. Now this is important to try and get this as low as possible. So if you are cornered by people trying to catch you, when you're aligning, so if you're aligning towards something, better to be very fast at aligning and warp away before they catch you. And this is your warping speed, so your maximum warping speed is 5 astronomical units a second, so it's quite fast. And then drones, on this ship, we don't have any drone skills yet, but we can. Let's have a look here. We've got 40 meters cubed space for the drones. So we will eventually load up with drones once we've trained the required skills. But for now, this is the frigate we're going to be using a lot, okay, to make our first in-game credits. Now on this window here, this is for the skin, so to make your ship look different. There's like a different set of clothes, so you can see the different types of skins. Now this is one which will be very nice for our particular mode of gameplay at the moment, which is the hacking and scanning. So we're exploring, so we get to travel around EVE Online, and you see the letters. Really nice skin, this one, really nice. So we'll aim to look at that later on, but for now, that is the ship, and the GM has given us some nice modules to put onto the ship. Now with the Venture, we're going to apply this skin. We haven't assembled our Venture yet, but I'll show you in just a moment. So we'll right click on the skin, activate the license for the skin, yes. So that will change the way the frigate looks when we're mining. So now for this ship, it can be fitted out a lot better, but for now what we've got given we'll use. So we've got a core probe launcher, so This allows us to use our probes to scan down the hacking and data sites, or sorry, the data and relic sites that we're going to be hacking using the Minesweeper minigame to get rich, basically. So let's have a look at the rest of this. So we'll load our probes into the probe launcher there, and we'll put the rest into our cargo hold. We also have a data analyzer. This is used for hacking data sites, and the relic analyzer, of course, for hacking relic sites. So we'll fit these to our ship as well. So relic and data. And we've also been given, let's have a look here, which one do we want? So we've got a medium shield extender, so no, we won't bother with that, that's for the miner, I think. So let's have a look, do we want a micro warp drive? I think we'll go with a micro warp drive, which, as you can see, gives us a speed boost of 2,322.8 meters a second, and without it switched on, we travel at 402.5, so that's not too bad. Great. Okay, so the minor 2s are for the venture, so we'll put the salvager on this ship. The salvager allows us to pick up any wrecks, so basically salvaging the wrecks of destroyed enemy ships, which gives us lots of different bits and pieces for rigs, but that's for later on, and I'll explain those in another video. Okay, so we've got that, and we've got the nanofibers, and these allow us to move around a lot quicker. Brings down the alignment time. As you see, it's gone down from 5 seconds now to 3.89, and they stack. So with another one fit 3.6 seconds to align, and then one more, I think, just for good measure, we'll put another one down to 3.47. Now, don't worry about this message diminishing returns. Don't be concerned. We just need to move around quickly and get on with the job in hand. Okay, so we're all set with our Magnate. Now, I shall show you what we can do with this ship. I'm just going to undock and take a look what it looks like outside in Eve and the interface. So I'll give you a brief overview of the interface. So what you can see here now, it's a little bit choppy as we come out. There we go. I'm just going to stop my ship. I just press Control and Spacebar just to stop the ship. So we can sit still for a moment, take in the lovely view. Right, so our ship is now stopping. Let's just do it again. There we are. Okay. So on your screen now, you can see on the right, we've got, if we select something in space, we can see what we've selected. So at this point in time, we've selected the station. On the overview, we can see a station here. We can see a Stargate. Okay. We've got several different tabs. So we've got the mining tab, which shows asteroid belts, and then warp tos for different things to warp to. And this is the view basically you get in space. Now, for your main controls down here, your ship controls, you can move this about if you press Control and then click and drag. So I like to have it just off center to the left. And then on here, these are inactive modules, so you don't want to always see those. So what I do is I click on these three little bars here, the options. On here, you can see on here, display passive modules, we're going to switch that off. And click again, so they've disappeared now, so we only have to focus on our modules that we're going to be using a lot of. Now these are our relic analyzer, our data analyzer, and our micro warp drive, which just makes us zoom around very fast so we can get back and forth very quickly. Okay, so along this side of the ship controls, we can see many different things. We've got our cargo hold, so it shows our probes, our drone bay, so any drones we've got on our ship will pop up in here. Okay, we've got the tactical overlay, in which you can see different rings around, so you can see distances and this kind of thing. So if I want to move forward 3 kilometers, I press Q and then I move. After double clicking to a certain destination, you can click around and change your trajectory of your ship. You can pilot like this, that's pressing Q, or you can simply click around in space different ways, double clicking to approach different ways. And we'll stop our ship again. Okay, so that's the tactical overlay. I don't tend to use that often, but there we are. And the different options, so we've got the first person camera, so which will switch you inside your spaceship. and you won't actually see that, but you'll be flying around just like a first-person shooter. The autopilot is something I would recommend you don't use. I mean, if you have something to do, or you have to quickly go ahead and run away from the computer for a minute, set autopilot if you're traveling anywhere, but be very careful. In EVE Online, there are people who love autopiloters because they shoot them. They'll blow you up and take your stuff if you're not careful. Okay, then we've got the tactical camera, so it's a bird's eye view of any battlefield if we're fighting. I won't look at that just now because that's not important. And down here, this is what we're looking at. The scanners, all the different scanners we've got now. We've got the moon probe analysis, so this is when you're probing moons to get minerals and things like that. So if you want to set up one of your factories later on in the game, this is more end game stuff, so not really relevant. We've got the directional scanner. I'll open that just now. What I'll do is I'll put this to floating and then bring this down to this corner, take off the map view there and pop this down here. So this is where I like to keep my directional scanner. So in EVE, the lingo for this is the D-scan. So if anyone says, what's on your D-scan, this is what they're referring to. And then you do a scan, and if anything's in the vicinity that could be possibly dangerous or another player, you'll be able to see them on your scan results. You can obviously change the distance you want to scan around. So at the moment we're at 14.3 AUs, but I want to bring it down generally to around 5. So if anything's within 5, just be a bit wary if you're in low security space or null sec space. And then the angle you can do it all the way around. As you can see, things have popped up now, so I can see the gates, I can see the stations. That's a quick intro to the D-scan, so that's important for you to know. Now, the other scanner we're going to be looking at is the probe scanner, okay, which is what we're interested in because we're going to be using our probes to try and find some stuff. So again, I'll click on that window just to detach it. Then I'll shrink down the system, which is the other one. If you look at the solar system map, we can switch that on or off, but we need it on when we're probing stuff down. Okay, so quickly on here, we have show results. So we've got many different things we're looking at on the map right now. Right now, we want to minimize it down to just cosmic signatures we're looking for. Anomalies are sites that you can see here. These are all to be run and shooting things and blowing things up. But right now we're not interested in those. We're just interested in cosmic signatures, and we can untick the rest. So we can see in this system there is one cosmic signature, okay, which is indicated on the map here. You can see in red there is a cosmic signature showing in red. There's a red cross with a big red circle around it, which indicates, I would imagine, probably about 8 astronomical units we need for our probes. So what we can do, I'll just shift that across to the left, and what we'll go ahead and do is launch in pinpoint formation our probes. Now this is the interface for the probes. As you can see, scrolling back and forth on your mouse wheel, you can zoom in and out, and you can click and drag on the probes and move them around. So what we want to do is pop it right in the center of that point, double click to see the different views, and then you can drag down to more precisely pinpoint what it is you're scanning. Zoom in some more, drag down, and you can turn around. As you can see, we're not quite covering where the possibility of this signature is, so we need to increase the size of the probes scanning area to 8 AUs. So now you can see the red is completely covered. Let's go ahead and have a quick scan. Let's see what we can find. Now, this takes a little bit, but obviously with the skills trained later on, you'll see that all these numbers reduce and we are able to scan a lot quicker. So now we've got a hit. Okay, so we've managed to get 7% hit on it, so we know it's a lot more accurate if we scan from up here. We do the zoom in, double clicking to again change the orientation, and we can kind of put the dot in the little square box, so we know we're right in the center of all the probes. So now we can see both sides okay. And then we minimize down and analyze once again. So you scan, you get a hit, you minimize the probes down one level, one tick over here. You minimize them down 4 AU, 2 AU, 1 AU, until you actually get the target to 100%, and we can actually warp to the signature. Now, as you can see, we're getting there slowly. So we keep doing the same process again and again, just check we are bang on the target. Not quite. Okay, so we bring down another tick, analyze again at 2 AUs, so we're getting closer and closer and closer to actually scanning this target down. Excuse me, I like to vape. Oh, so as you can see, we've scanned down a wormhole. Now, wormholes are a whole other topic for another video, but it's useful to know the different types of things that can be picked up on your probes. Okay, so what we'll do is scan this wormhole down to 100%. Now, these are one of the easiest ones to find, level 1, so very easy to scan these down normally. Obviously, once our skills are a bit more honed in, we'll be able to find this in no time. So we just double check everything is nice and neat. We'll come down another tick, and we should hit it this time, or if not, be very close. Once we've actually scanned it down to 100%, this will turn green, and it will give us a warp to option on the right, on the left here. So let's see, and there we are. So we've hit it 100%. We've got a wormhole, an unstable wormhole that we can actually warp to. So what I do is I recover my probes first. This little button here, recover the probes. Never forget your probes, especially in wormholes, or you'll be stuck for a long time with no probes, or you will have to blow yourself up and self-destruct, which is never fun, especially if you've got implants. No fun. Okay, so we've got our wormhole scanned down. So let's warp to the wormhole. We can do it from here, we can warp to, or we can go to here, click on the warp to button. So from this particular probe scanner, I'll warp here, and I'll just get rid of the window here, just make sure I've got probes. Yes, probes are back in the ship, that's good. So we've scanned down our first site. We've also got 2 unclaimed rewards now for that. So the Air Career Program, they do give you rewards, even though you're not particularly following the missions right now. As I said, for this series, we're not going to be doing the tutorial missions, although I will probably show you the Explorer one, because that's the one we're focused on. Now, as you see, this is a wormhole. It's K162, which means it's already been found and people have been in and out. Now this one tells us it goes to unknown parts of space. So right this moment, we don't want to be jumping into any wormholes. We're not fitted out for anything. And it might just end up in us getting lost. So that's our first 100% scan. So we've successfully completed our first scan. Albeit a wormhole, but that's okay. So what we'll do now, just warp to our station just to be on the safe side. And in the meantime, we'll click on the agency button, which is here. This funny shaped thing here, which tells us all the different activities in the game we can do. So we've got agents and missions, we can do missions, encounters, okay, exploration. So this is the one we're going to be focusing on, guys, exploration. And we're going to be looking at both combat anomalies, which are when you warp to somewhere and you have to shoot some stuff and you get some nice goodies, some nice stuff to sell for ISK, and cosmic signatures. So cosmic signatures, as you just saw, we've just scanned down this one, which is a wormhole, and it's showing on here because we scanned it to 100%. Otherwise it would just come up like this, unknown signature. Okay, so next door, let's have a look at this place. We'll set the destination, and we'll have another quick scan in that system right there. On the next video, so thank you for watching this first part of the introduction to Eve for new bros. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Fly safe.